The next item on the agenda was the policy that we moved from the consent agenda. Let me flip back here. The policy KLB-AP-1. I know, Dan, you had asked for it to be moved, and I also additionally wanted it to be moved. Do you want to speak, or would you like for me to?
Well, I just think rather than spending 2 minutes on it at a board meeting, we'll take more time individually to look at it and to be able to consider it. Obviously, our public is interested in what we're doing here, and so maybe that would give me an opportunity as an individual board member to get feedback if I want to, and then the board can meet with more gathered information and more consideration.
I wanted to speak because I had sought some legal advice surrounding that policy because of the difficulties that we are experiencing in the district with that reconsideration of materials, the volume of disputed materials, and just the general concern around that policy. I sought some legal advice, and so we initially, back when we met at the retreat, we had talked about amending the policy. I'm actually going to recommend this evening that we suspend the policy. We suspend it for 2 weeks with everyone going back and doing some research. I talked to the attorney, and I know a lot of you're not aware of this, so but I talked to the attorney, and that policy around the external book review committee is not required by state statute. And I know we've really bogged down our system with this concern, and so we've looked at how to best manage that for all the taxpayers of the district. We represent every family in the district and every student. And so one of the considerations that I was given is that we could suspend it, research it, look at it from every angle, and if we feel like it is not in the best interest of the district, we could possibly rescind that policy. We have avenues for patrons of the district to address the board, different complaint avenues and other policies that we could use. We have policy BDDH and our community engagement policy that would cover that. And so I've done a lot of soul searching, I've done a lot of contemplation, I've looked at this from many, many directions, and I know this has just caused a lot of concern in our district. And so one of the recommendations that the attorney said, and I said, well, we're already implemented that, is she said, allow every parent to restrict a book. And I said, well, we were proactive as a district when this concern first came to us. Dr. Robinson was very proactive, and the administrators, and they sent out to the parents a form that parents could fill out that they could restrict any district book in the library or in the classroom
For their child.
for their child.
Okay.
So this would be very specific to their child. That form would need to be completed. We would implement that form again for this school year, would be my recommendation. They would fill it out. It would be part of the child's record. They would send it to the administrator of that building and to that child's teacher and to the librarian of that building. And so that each parent in the district could restrict the book. And so we talked, the legal counsel and I talked about this extensively. I want you guys to go do your research. It would be imperative that we educate the entire staff in our district that if we did this, that they would understand that a parent has the right to restrict the book, that we would be transparent with what books are in the library, what books would be in every classroom. So if at the beginning of the school year, the teachers would present a list of their personal, many teachers have a personal library in their classroom. And parents would have access to that list, and they could look through that list and determine if they want their child to read that book or not.
Can they add to that list throughout the school year?
They could add to that list, but they would also need to then communicate that to the parents. If let's say we had a book fair and they got 6 books added to that list, that would need to be added onto their room's profile so parents could see the list of books that are in that classroom. The other thing that I would recommend, we already have an internal review process for instructional materials. So after lots of contemplation on my part, I think it would be in our best interest to go back and look through the lens of our internal review process of all the books that are currently on that list and apply, and I can get you the policies that talk about that internal review process, but task the administration to look at those books through the lens and make sure that those books met the specifics of the internal review process. And then we would task the administration and Dr. Robinson to develop a procedure that parents were very clear in understanding, just like our anti-bullying or whatever, easily accessed, that they could review instructional materials in the library or books in teachers' classrooms and that kind of thing. So my recommendation, I know we had talked at the retreat about amending the policy and maybe trying some different avenues there, but it's become so tense in our community, and I think in my heart, our district supports a philosophy that parents should be able to decide the certain titles that their kids read. We have a diverse student demographic, and we will provide books and content for a diverse audience, and we need to provide that. But we also need to make sure that we've gone through the internal book review process, and that when we bring things into our district, that we are following those. Those are like in the eyes in the policy. So if you guys want to reach out to me at some point and ask, or you can look, the policies are all online and look at that. But my recommendation it would be to suspend it for 2 weeks. You guys do your research. You guys can talk to the legal counsel at MSBA or look, and do some research into that. And it's going to be at the pleasure of the board, but I would like to suspend it for 2 weeks. And then I will call a special board meeting. We will sit down and talk about that policy in light of all the conflict and concern that we have surrounding that policy in our